Welcome to the first ever episode of Second Screenings.
It's number
Don't
one.
abbreviate that.
Yes.
Yeah. Don't abbreviate it, and don't look at the color scheme of the thumbnails, please.
Oh, yes.
It's fine. We worked out the title, and then we realized that it's fine. Focus on the funny Family Guy font. That's the important part.
Yes.
Na-na-na-na-na-na.
Thank you, Tristan, for the
Well, in the
mashup
case of
guy
this-
specialty.
In the case of this specific episode, though, considering what's in this film, we could abbreviate it.
Actually,
That's
yeah,
true.
technically.
Welcome
Yeah.
to Loud Equals Funny SS edition, everybody. It's time for the Postal movie. This can't be good for us, but I feel great.
Yeah, baby.
The general idea for the series, Bane, it's sort of like we each have two recommendations, and they're loosely good, one good movie and one bad movie, but I mean, that's
Yeah.
kind of,
That's
it's reductive
subjective.
to just call something a bad movie, XD,
Yeah.
I mean, any one of us
Mine's
might.
a bad movie, but we'll get to that.
Well,
too.
my
So one
second
of
one's a
yours
bad
is, too.
movie. Yeah.
And this one is your good movie, right?
This is my good movie, yes. Which
Yay.
may set opinions for me back a little bit. I get that.
Bane got the Postal movie for his good movie. Well, my good movie is The Stupids with Tom Arnold. So I mean, spoilers, but like, good is subjective as is bad. So
Look, this is a movie I recommend
Yeah.
people watch because I think it's a good time. It may not be the best
Yes.
film. It may not even be the smartest film, which it is definitely not. It is far from the smartest film.
I'm kind of happy I watched it. My general feeling was like it's funnier than I expected it would be, but it's also overall unpleasant. I think it's more unpleasant than it is funny. But like,
Yeah.
I like it
still
because
entertaining.
Yeah.
I like it because it reminds me how much I like actual movies.
That too.
Yes.
Yes.
My big problem with the Postal movie is it's not the worst thing.
Yeah.
But when it's boring, it's very boring.
Good lord, it's 2
Yeah.
fucking hours long.
I will
It's
admit
so
it
much longer than it needs to be.
could use a trimming. But
Yeah.
here's what I'll give some prelude, folks, before we get a
Well-
little deeper.
Yeah.
Tell us about the Postal games first, Bane.
Yeah, so the Postal series has been developed by a company named Running with Scissors, and the first one is kind of a very serious top-down like shooter. I would say it's.
I mean, it's a violent, gritty murder simulator that's about kill.
Yeah.
It's a very different tone. It's very
cynical. It is a
It-
very
well,
cynically. If it is, I'd say it's cynical.
yeah. It's more like a Saw movie, like
Kinda,
the
yeah.
dismembering everybody, and whereas 2 onward becomes just like a South Park game, basically.
Yeah, two rightfully, and I think smartly decided to go a lot more tongue-in-cheek, a lot
Yeah.
more goofy, and at the point of where you can be a pacifist or you can be like a total fucking psychopath and have everything in between. And
Yeah.
Postal 4s kind of follow that same way. We don't talk about Postal 3, really. It's
Don't
not
worry
very
about
good.
Postal 3.
Yeah.
Postal 2 is an interesting game, though, I'll just say, because I feel like it's one of the best, like, PC FPS games. Real underrated sleeper hit, like,
Oh, yeah.
Early, like, kind of open world, tackle things in your own, way. Like, oh, how do you want to do this dungeon filled with terrorists? I know. The pistol, and only the pistol, because it's the best weapon in the game.
Oh yeah,
you
or you
know,
can just choose to pee on people randomly.
Just
and that could be
pee
your
on
game.
people.
Hell
yeah,
That's my favorite
exactly.
part.
Yeah, and so it's a really cool game, but because it's so edgy, people have never really been able to get. I mean, a lot of people understand it and are cool with it, but a lot of people, it gets like a 5 out of 10. Postal 2 does, which is a shame.
Yeah, because it is honestly way more than a 5 out of 10. It's a fun.
It is.
It's a fun time.
It's at least like an 8 for me anyway. And this movie, definitely not that good, but similarly slammed by the critics. It's Uwe Boll,
Yes.
the worst film director of all time, asterisk, asterisk.
We will eventually will talk about more of his films because some of them are
Oh, good.
fascinatingly embarrassing, but also
I really want to. I mentioned to
interesting.
you I want to watch the Far Cry movie because both of us have never
The
seen
Far
that.
Cry movie. it's not even that bad compared to like his other. It feels more like a complete movie than something like Postal does. Like Postal,
Really?
it feels like a movie, but it also feels so scattershot and all over the place that at points it's like, what is our goal right now? You
I
I
know,
mean,
like, do
I
we have one?
feel like it had a general, plot that I could follow, but it was kind of, it was kind of meandery. I could imagine it more as like a Postal game, really, where it's just like, all right, now you're in this level and it's little Germany and you've got to kill people, and now you're in this level and it's, the hippie compound. The movie is like more than anything based on two.
Yeah.
Because like three wasn't out yet, and the first game was just like, again, violent, cynical murder fest, not even like funny or anything. It's closer to hatred. If you remember, My Name Is Not Important.
Yeah. In fact,
I remember not
I
important.
said,
Yeah.
I should preface what I said by saying the Far Cry movie is worse. It's a worse movie, but
Hell
it
yeah.
like it as a movie feels more
finish.
rounded, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
it's
because I
worse
didn't.
overall.
I was surprisingly. I was pretty okay with how this movie, like, it wasn't great. But like for Uwe Boll, for the worst
Yeah.
film director ever, a million articles and videos about how terrible he is. It's like, this was perfectly competent. It
Yeah,
was just like not the best, but very competent, fine movie. It was like not, it
What-
wasn't like House of the Dead, because
Yeah.
I think I saw House of the
Yeah.
Dead,
So I'll
and that
talk
is
on-
just
Much better than
nonsense.
I will talk
Yeah.
on some of his films because I've seen the first Blood Rain film he did. I know he made 3 of them. I've
God.
seen Alone in the Dark. I've seen House of the Dead, Postal, and then I've seen he made. We didn't make another zombie game, but he made the Rampage films, and I have seen those, and I'll talk about those in a second.
The recent ones?
Not the recent one.
Well,
Not the Rock one.
yeah, not the
Okay.
Rock ones. It's a film titled Rampage. I'll get into those. Don't worry. But effectively, like Postal is his most competent film outside of the Rampage films, and I'll get to those in a minute.
That is embarrassing.
It probably is. I mean, I feel like this is his most competent film in my mind. What I've
Yeah, for somebody who apparently Uwe Boll's whole thing is like tax write-off, German tax thing.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah,
It's a whole
effectively.
weird thing.
So it's like, it's not a guy who makes movies because he really likes making them. And for that, keeping that in mind, it's like he did an okay job for this movie. Like, all things considered, you could have gotten something way worse than that.
Yeah.
The shit I've seen on
Right.
like, Best of the Worst, where it's just like Crazy Fat Ethel or whatever. It's like a VHS camera and it's just some bitch eating pudding for 2 hours. Like, yeah, the Postal movie's fucking 10 out of 10 compared to some shit. I don't know.
There's also like a surprising amount of people in this movie.
There
Yeah,
really is.
yeah.
I have a note that just says JK and 3 exclamation
I
marks.
also do. Yeah.
So, some of the cast here: Zach Ward as the Postal Dude, which I think is really good casting.
Mr. Dude himself.
I've never heard of the actor. I wasn't fond of him at first, but I like his version of Postal Dude, all things considered. He doesn't have the voice that like the guy from 2 had or whatever, but
nobody really other than him, I think, has that kind
I think
of
that was
voice.
John St. John actually who did that.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
John St. John. Yeah.
Yeah, so he doesn't have that, but he brings his own energy to it. It's like a classic Sonic versus modern kind of thing,
Yeah. Zach Ward.
Well, I was gonna say I kind of felt like in the first half of the movie, he was doing one thing, and then by the time the second half of the movie comes in, it feels like he's kind of
Complete entire
trying to
tonal
do
shift.
the same
Yeah.
things. Yeah, like he's trying to
Yeah.
do the same kind of character, but with completely different line deliveries now. It was weird.
Well, there's the part I was really unhappy with. So the movie's called Postal.
Yes.
The name comes from the idea. I believe he is like supposed to be a postal worker originally. But
Yeah, I think the first one. Yeah.
it is just he decides to go postal one day and kill a bunch of people, and that's where the name comes from. But Yeah, so the whole time I'm kind of waiting to see how they do this, like him going postal thing. In the game, it's kind of like in 2, it's go to a place, get money, come back, and then it's like a whole bunch of crazy shit happens, basically.
Yeah.
And in the game, I mean, it's whatever. You can just start murdering people the second you leave your fucking trailer. Like, then you probably will. But in the movie, it's like it's a movie, so there's like a lead up to it, and I was really not happy. That was one of the elements, like trying to treat this like a real movie, and it's like the scene where he finally does snap and kill a guy. It's like this awkward shot where he's like, it's intercutting with Dave Foley on the phone.
Yeah, getting head.
And it's just not shot well. It's just very poorly, delivered. But, ultimately, I guess that's sort of, the tipping point. And then after that, he becomes there. I have a note there's a scene where he suddenly becomes like MacGyver and blows open a fucking door with like
that was
electrical jerry rigging, and I'm like,
wonder where he learned all that.
That was not set up at all.
Well, it was set up like early on that like him and his uncle Dave were basically like con men, thieves and shit, and Dave kept getting successful seemingly off of it, and then the postal dude ended up like taking the rap for like a bad thing,
You could kind of assume that he has various skills from back then.
Yeah, he's also got an anarchy tattoo. I mean,
which is so cringe. I had a note about that.
Cringe.
Epic anarchy tattoo! 5 exclamation marks.
I said, wow, he secretly had anarchy tattoo.
The world feels more like. So, for context, the main character's name is Dude. Or Postal Dude. He's not given a real name in the film.
Dude,
because that's what the game is like too, right?
Yeah.
In Postal 1, the whole idea is that he believes the government is releasing something in the air that's making people hateful and mean. So he goes around killing people.
Yeah.
And in the second game, it's more of him like losing his mind and going postal than anything in like a weird off-kilter world. One problem I had with the movie is that from the very beginning, the entire world is already unhinged and immoral. So at no point in the first like hour and 10 minutes did I feel like he was going postal, because the whole world is already crazy,
Well, the world is already crazy in a way that's just supposed to reflect how things are, in the real world. And so it's like, I don't know. It's like a heightened reality thing. Like, this could happen to anyone.
Yeah, I will say this: there is like because if you ever lived in a ratty, rundown shithole, I can attest to this. There is that kind of feeling of just everyone's kind of a piece of shit around here, and everyone kind of spits on you, treats like the film's set in Arizona, but honestly, it should have been set in Illinois. It feels like that.
What I mean is like, all of the writing is so specifically weird and off that a lot of his writing didn't, to me, communicate that he was kind of losing it until like the very end. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
the whole movie's already written in a way where
he mostly,
everything everyone says and does is weird.
He was very mild-mannered throughout.
Yeah, he mostly seemed like a fish out of water until like the very end.
It's kind of funny because his uncle in the movie is played by Dave Foley, famous Canadian comedian, and he's definitely the best part of this movie for me. He's just so great every time he's on screen.
He's having a good time.
He has this extremely laid-back performance where he's just like, oh, bro, it turns out I'm fucking gay. Who knew?
I loved that.
Yeah, but those scenes were really, really weird for me because he looks like my dad, but if my dad was like crossed a little bit with Steve Buscemi.
I can see the Steve Buscemi. Yeah. No, he's great. And so as the nephew of that guy, I guess I can see Postal Dude being like more laid back and kind of chill.
Yeah. It's like you see a familial connection there.
I did actually notice that.
It was pretty good casting. And so he was one of the...
I think Dave Foley was probably my favorite part of the movie, personally.
Yeah.
Again, folks, real quick, for those who want to watch this, there is a link down below to an Amazon link. It's an affiliate link that'll help us out.
Yeah.
Yeah, hey,
If for
again,
some reason you want to watch this,
yeah, hey, well, we're gonna put this for every film.
fucking around.
I'll recommend
Yeah.
even Cocaine Bear. So yeah, we start the film with probably it's a tone setter.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we get to see a cockpit for the first plane going into the 9/11 towers, and they start to have a debate
Did you
about.
say the 9/11 towers?
I'm calling it the 9/11 towers. It's funny. It's funny. I'm also a little
Those
high
towers
already.
from 9/11.
I guess that was 9/11. I assumed it was like an unrelated terrorist incident.
It
but I
was the
suppose
Twin
that would've been-
Towers.
Yeah. I kind of like that scene where they're bickering about, like, how many virgins is it going to be, though?
Oh yeah.
You know?
It's like a little
That was. I
discrepancy.
did actually enjoy it. It went on a little too long for me.
Yeah.
I'd
Well,
say
that's
just
everything in the
slightly.
movie.
Yeah, they
That's
could have
true.
used a good editor. There's only
Uh,
one thing I'd say it should have been longer throughout the film, and we'll get there when we get there.
If you go on a 5-minute tangent about Dave Foley's penis, I'm gonna fucking shoot
No,
you.
I'm not gonna say Dave Foley's penis should be longer.
I do have a note that says
Yes.
I don't think this is a very good movie at all. But I feel like if it was directed and edited better, this script would still be kind of great for like an absurdist weirdo dark comedy made by
Yeah.
someone who's better at making movies. you
Yeah,
know?
Type of shit you find on
Yeah.
Comedy Central.
This is one of those like so much wasted potential kind of movies.
I have a note here that says it's a nice slice of the bullshit political divide of the late 2000s.
It really
Because
is.
we're so mired in the current day culture war, it's nice to go back to like bird flu and them terrorists and George Bush and stuff. It's just so it's like a warm blanket.
I just have a note that says this is so 2000s.
Oh yeah.
It is.
It is.
By the way, I should say.
Also,
Yeah.
I also have one here that says goddamn Bidenomics, only 20 virgins.
I should say also that originally this was pitched like Vince Cesario, who sold the rights to Postal to Uwe originally did pitch a grittier and darker version, much like the first game, but actually Bull rejected that and preferred it to be a comedy, which I'm gonna
Okay.
say I don't want to see what Uwe Boll would have done with a dark version of this film.
This movie rides the line, I would say, reasonably well most of the time. It rides the line of being just barely just before the line of being like too far.
Yeah.
Where it's like this scene is just unpleasant. It's not really very very funny, but something about it, there's just something. It doesn't it it ends just before, or they bring it back with a good punchline or something. It never goes quite over the line where I'm like, oh, I'm done with this. This is garbage. Ugh.
Yeah, it rides the line like, doing so will bring the line back to life,
Yeah.
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 I think one of the only times where it didn't ride the line and kind of bring me back and make me go, okay, that could have been worse was the poo-poo scene.
Yeah. We'll get to the poo-poo.
Yeah,
It was
that was pretty
terrible.
early on.
For me, it was some of the retard stuff, but we'll get
Yeah,
to
that-
too.
That was rough.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Never mind. I'm
But
thinking
there
of
was-
more now.
There was a good example of it early on. I have a note here that reads, I see an Asian lady driving and say out loud, they won't let her get away with being Asian, and they sure don't.
I'll get
True.
there.
And yeah, there's a scene that is just kind of uncomfortable until the very end of it when the black cop comes back to the car after murdering this Asian woman in
Yeah,
cold blood because he couldn't
unloading.
understand her.
Unloading an entire
yeah,
SPOS 12
honestly.
into her. Yeah.
Ventilating the whole fucking car, and he comes back to the cop car and he says, I think she called me N-word.
Yeah, I think she said, "Oh, she called me the
And-
N-word."
And and it was just, I'm not necessarily proud of it, but it was one of those
When
one of those
I
laughs.
when I got to that, I wrote, "We got an N-word, people."
So yeah, again, the two hackers end up calling Osama bin Laden because they are trying to figure out their discrepancy with the virgins, and turns out they can only promise 20. So they decided to change course to the Bahamas.
I
However,
thought that scene was going to end with the plane crashing because the guy was on his phone.
that would have
But
been great.
I'm funnier than Uwe Ball, it seems.
Yeah.
No, I actually like that it was the other people that wrestle the plane
They-
into the building.
Yeah, they push him in, and it's like, oh
Yeah.
shit, hang on,
trying to
they're trying to stop it.
trying to
Wait,
like
no, we're going to the Bahamas. Yeah, like
Yeah.
we believe you, buddy.
trying to analyze this movie for like real film
Yeah,
art
no,
or
don't-
whatever. It's like, yeah, there is some, I guess, some moments there where I'm like, who are the real villains here? They really don't like the,
You're
the
putting way too much
survivors.
thought.
They
into
really
this fucking
don't like
movie.
the people that died in 9/11, by the way. There
Yeah.
are multiple parts in the movie where they're like, oh, most of those people are assholes.
So, well, see, I actually,
I mean, they were bankers.
I've got some notes here real quick. In an interview for Nathan Rabin's book My Year of Flops, Dave Foley said that Bull did want to make a serious statement about how a cult of heroism had surrounded people who were murdered in the 9/11 attacks, and that he and Bull agreed that being the victim of terrorism makes people victims, not heroes. Foley added that he tried to talk Bull out of including the notorious 9/11 sequence.
I can
I
just
think
imagine
that
Dave Foley
defines
just
the
like,
movie, really.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you think this 9/11 thing is it going to be a good idea?
Yeah,
We really need the 9/11, Uwe?
See,
And-
No, it is
and then he says,
necessary. We
"Yes,
need it.
Yes, we need it for the film.
You
But this
will
is my
box
art."
me if you don't like it.
well, I mean,
We're gonna
so,
need to get
so
some boxing training after this shit airs.
we
I mean,
will
he'll-
get
he
into it.
can he take all three of us at once? I think that's fair. We don't train, and then he's trained, right?
Yeah,
But he takes
I'm
on
out
all
of-
three of us.
Dude, I'm out
I'll
of
just
shape.
cling to his knees.
But yeah, Dave Foley said the reason why he said that he should remove it was because he assumed the film would have no chance of appearing on many or any screens of the U.S. Which, if you're playing
It
at home
certainly
here,
did not.
get your Curb Your Enthusiasm button out, because yes, at one point the film had 21 theater screens.
Oh hell yeah!
Because theater distributors boycotted it because of political content. At one point, they had a wide release planned of 1,500 screens, and they had 21 by the time of release.
Incredible.
Well, I actually don't know much about the production or like results of this film.
Yeah. So,
Besides the fact that it was pitched to him by the German Postal fan club,
yes, it was.
and- and that it only earned back 1% of its budget. Those are the
Yeah.
only two things I know about this movie.
Incredible.
So,
now we
well-
know who to blame and how badly they failed.
So yeah, on
The
21,
German Postal Fan Club is a very worrying concept.
that is kind of haunting. Yes, you hope they're more into two than one, but that's neither here nor there. So
Dear
yeah,
God, if they're into three, oh no.
oh, execute them. But yeah, $146,741 on 21 screens, which is not bad for 21 screens.
Yeah, it's just the issue. What's the budget?
Well, the budget was $15 million.
Yeah.
God.
Home media did kind of pick it up, and the game did come with a copy of Postal 2 in it. So it was
Oh.
worth buying. Like, it was a DVD copy, if you had DVD drives.
That's actually not too bad.
Yeah, Blu-ray
Shit,
and the DVD
actually.
had it with it, so
I might grab
I
that.
didn't know that.
Fuck it.
yeah. It
That's
includes all the
cool.
DLC up until the 2015 one that came out on Steam. Yeah, no, this movie, again, it was planned to be like a 1,500 screen release, which I think it would have made $15 million back. That's believable.
I
that-
don't think so.
I've seen way
Not
worse
that
make.
much.
I've seen way worse make more back then.
Like Postal didn't have enough of a fan base to go and see it on the name appeal, and so they would have people would have needed to go see it on like
Yeah.
J.K. Simmons and Dave Foley, I guess, and maybe just the poster or whatever.
I mean, yeah. I think it could have made its money back. It would have probably made more than most of his video game adaptations. I think
You know, this was a pretty okay adaptation, I would say.
it's a very in
at least the
spirit
second
adaptation.
game. The second game, for anyone who hasn't played it, has a special celebrity guest star, and it's Gary Coleman.
Yep.
And so instead
Yeah,
already dead by
one
then.
of my notes. One of my notes actually from early on is, where's Gary Coleman?
no, it's just so funny. It's like for the movie, instead of having it be the guy from the game directly, they have something that's sort of an adaptation of that same idea, but instead of Gary Coleman, it's a similar little person celebrity.
Yeah.
You know, and
So it's a New Way Bowl movie.
it's a nice little thing for an adaptation. It's like, yeah, they changed a few things around, and then there's stuff where it's like almost directly like I think there was a whole hippie doomsday cult in the second game.
I think there
And
was,
that's like a big point of this movie.
Yeah, Uncle
Yeah.
Dave is just meant to be David Fresh, basically.
Yeah.
I didn't even
Just
pick
fun
that
party,
up.
David.
I just
Koresh.
thought because Dave is Dave Foley's name, and I'm like, I guess they didn't bother to name him.
It's a bit of a triple entendre there, yeah. So we meet Postal Dude. He's living in the shittiest trailer park known to man in Paradise, Arizona, which actually I looked it up. It's like a ghost town in real life. Like,
Oh,
I kind of think like 10 people actually live there.
Oh,
But
it's kinda like a Good Springs, Nevada type of deal.
yeah. So, he's living welfare check to welfare check. He's trying to get a job. He's living in a trailer park with a wife who, to put it nicely, is immobile. She's very big. She's very big.
They wait until the very end of the film to do a shut-in joke with her, which I would
Yeah.
say well timed. Good execution of haha, she's so fat she can't leave the trailer. Haha.
Well, the whole thing is kind of like that. Her whole kind of setup is that she ain't moving anyway. His wife basically, is like, why don't you get some money from your fucking Uncle Dave? Get that welfare check for me. She's been cheating on him. She's fucking everyone in town, it seems, including
Except him.
including the wonderfully goofy-looking hick landlord. Who that guy was made to play fucking Hicks in movies.
Yeah.
He's
He's never gonna be a leading man.
Oh, not at all.
yes. The official name of the character is Bitch
Yes.
from
Okay.
IMDb.
And
which
the
I'm
Oh, that's
getting-
fitting.
Not
She's
the
not
best
very nice.
source,
Um.
but still.
Also, the actor, the guy, the landlord's name is Cooter, which that's a
Oh,
perfect
Nice.
name. But yeah, no. So effectively, like, the Postal Dude is set up to be this guy completely down on his luck, and he's one of the characters in this. Like there's 4 plots all kind of intersecting at the same time, because you've got the Taliban hideout convenience store, who they're preparing for Osama bin Laden to come to Paradise for a big plan that they got going on. Uncle Dave is desperately out of money. He owes 1.3 million and 73 cents to the IRS.
Put a pin in that. Put a pin in that, by the way.
That's 1.3 million and 73 cents. He's a co-leader for the denomination of organic monotheism, or Doom,
Doom.
which his hippie compound looks like a lot of fucking fun.
Oh yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
The secret base underneath with all the like weapons, but
yes.
you know.
Oh, we'll
And
get
the
there.
1,000 monkeys, but we'll get there.
Yes. So yeah, Uncle Dave, he's written this big Bible also, which comes up pretty often throughout the film, that he completely forgot writing. He was fucking baked off his ass writing it. But them, Osama, they're all leading to come for these things called crotchy dolls. And
Oh yeah, I completely forgot those were part of the plot.
I
Yeah.
have no notes about crotchy dolls, but I do. Yeah, that is part of the plot. Yes.
Yep. So
Yeah.
It's just a MacGuffin, you know.
yeah, Crotchy is this character. It's basically like a kid's animated show. There was a whole tanker that had crashed in the sea, and all the crew died, but they saved about 2,000 Crotchy dolls. And those Crotchy dolls are coming to Little Germany.
I
It's a
have
pretty-
a note here. Bro, I wish this plot was them diving for the dolls. I hate this.
Honestly, I'd be down for like a, going to rescue like shit under
Yeah,
the ocean.
literally Ocean's 11.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
I mean, I do like the joke where they're like, they didn't bother to save any of the crew, but they got a bunch of the dolls. Thank
Oh, yeah.
God.
They spared the dolls.
Yeah.
So effectively, all of the plots are kind of intersecting. Osama bin Laden's coming for these dolls. The Doomsday cult's going for these dolls. These dolls are very important because they're worth a lot of money. They sold one on eBay for thousands of dollars. So all of them
Ooh.
are heading towards Little Germany to steal these dolls.
Really quick, there was a kind of funny gag
Oh yes.
where I think they were like 2,000 each.
Mhm.
And there were, oh geez, how many of them were there?
Oh god.
Like 40 of them or something like that.
2,000 crotchy dolls.
2,000. And
Yeah.
they were trying to figure out what, like 20,000 times
Oh
400
yeah, I love
was.
that scene.
Yeah, it's like it's a
They were
fucking
like,
lot of money.
It's
It's
just
a lot of
money. By the way,
Dave Foley is a great comic actor, and then that Zach Ward guy is no slouch either. He's playing off him pretty well.
Yeah.
I do think it's funny though that he needs all of his money because, to my knowledge, religions are tax exempt, and I feel like to get a following of that size, you need to at least have applied.
Yeah.
They didn't even
Well,
mention
he
it.
doesn't seem like someone who gives too much of a fuck.
Yeah, he seems
Fair,
like the last
but the
guy
other
who's
guy
paying
does.
attention.
That's true. The other
Yeah.
guy built the whole bomb shelter. You'd think he'd be on top of that. But
Well,
Yeah, got
I
1,000
mean,
monkeys.
as
How do you do that?
as it turns out, it was kind of a whole ploy, so it didn't really matter if it really was real. But
yeah.
We should also probably quickly talk about the Osama bin Laden brown face.
yeah,
Well, it's sort of brown face. I like the fact that the guy's just an American. He doesn't even talk with an accent. He's just like,
Yeah, he doesn't do an
Hey-
accent at all.
"Hey George, I need you to pick me up.
Well,
It's
well,
me."
he does a little bit of an accent during like the scene where he's doing a recording, and then
Well,
he
yeah,
drops it
yeah, when he
immediately.
needs to like fake the accent, but then the real him talking is just an American guy. I like that.
By the way, that guy is a soup Nazi.
Is
it
he?
is.
Yeah,
Is he?
Okay.
That's
Well,
Larry
if you're
Thomas.
Oh my
gonna get
God.
if you're gonna get brown face, that's the best brown face you
It's
can
perfect. It's perfect.
I was
Yeah,
gonna
they didn't
say
even
it-
get him to say no
it's
soup
him.
for you once.
get. I mean,
He
now that
also-
guy's not typecast anymore. Now I know him as two great roles.
Yes.
No, because he's in one episode of Arrested Development too, and he plays he plays like a fake Saddam Hussein.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
So he is being typecast.
so he was.
Nice.
Yeah, unfortunate.
Yeah.
Well, he
I
was
mean-
also nebulously foreign in Soup Nazi episode. I don't think he was explicitly German.
I like the
No,
phrase
no,
nebulously
yeah.
foreign.
Oh yeah, I'd say he's like the most likable of the antagonists in the movie. I guess.
Oh, easily.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's
'Cause-
like him and
And the
who
right-hand
else?
man.
The fat guy. Yeah. I fucking hate the fat guy. We'll get into
I
why.
do
And,
not
and,
like
well,
him
and
at
technically
all.
Rick Hoffman. Well, we haven't got to the there's a great scene where the dude from Suits, who is what everyone basically knows him as, the dude from Suits, but Rick Hoffman, Postal dude goes to an interview, right?
Oh, yeah,
he's
that guy.
looking for a job. He's destitute, and he goes to a job interview where he gets posed some interesting questions.
I felt that scene.
Yeah, it's what is the
I
difference
really fucking felt
between
that
a
scene.
duck?
Pretty good scene.
What is the difference between a duck? Got me.
between
yeah.
a duck? And then they
Uh.
sing this song, which really got me. It was this just horrible, bleak corporate dystopia anthem about how we own your soul. There were a lot of little moments in the movie where I was.
high flying company.
There's moments in the movie like deep commentary on the similarity between evil religious cults and capitalism? Question mark.
Yep.
Because it's like this guy, Osama bin Laden, goes to. So you got that scene where the postal dude applies to this business, and that's entirely unrelated to a later scene where the Osama bin Laden character goes to this seminar being run by this guy who it's like happening at a hotel or something. And this
Yeah.
guy's like selling this like how to dominate your employees so they treat you like a god. And so it's making this direct comparison between, I know we're going bread tube dork over here, but like directly it's evil capitalist, like, corporate business money men are teaching Osama bin Laden how to run Al Qaeda in this movie. And I don't know, I enjoyed that little bit of. I was like, oh, that's interesting. I like
Yeah,
that.
That bit also gave me one of my favorite lines and line deliveries, where he goes to pay for the guy's book after the event, and he gives him his like credit card, and he takes it, and he goes, "I'm sorry, Mr. Layden. It looks like your card has been declined." And he's
Oh.
like, "Oh, oh, what? Oh, why? And then he says like, oh, well, it looks like every government in the world is looking for you, or something along those
Yeah, every
lines.
government in the world has
Every
frozen
government
your
in the free
assets,
world.
and he's looking at a card reader, which like the amount of text that thing can display is so tiny.
But my favorite part of it is Larry Thomas's great physical performance where he like starts to walk away and then he instantly jumps back and tries to steal one of the books.
He does. He runs away
He
with it.
does.
Yeah,
And then my
it's-
favorite part is the next guy who comes up and the guy selling the books goes, well, your money is still good. You're American, even though you're black.
yeah, it's something like so fucking wild. It's like, all right.
I do
said with
appreciate
such
this movie's
gusto.
tenacity for going a bit far. It's great.
Oh yeah,
Well,
we
and-
haven't got
and, like-
dead kids yet.
Oh,
I-
no,
yeah.
not even.
There's one more thing I wanted to say, which is that there's a really good bit early on
Yeah.
that shows that there's a surprising amount of like continuity happening between each storyline, where you see the postal dude walk into a coffee shop to get a cup of coffee,
Put a
and
pin in
someone
that.
is leaving right before him, and after the scene in the coffee shop, we then cut to Al Qaeda, and the guy who was in the coffee shop a minute ago is delivering coffees to Al Qaeda.
Yeah,
And I was like, huh.
And that lady that was with him is also one of the bimbos from the hippie commune,
oh
as
yeah,
revealed
yeah.
later. And I oh, go ahead.
I didn't realize she was in it because I recognize her from Glow and The Boys and a couple other things.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
Jackie
recognize-
Chan.
okay.
Yeah,
Oh, that lady? No,
That lady.
I meant you mean Faith, the coffee
Yeah,
lady?
the coffee lady.
Yeah,
No,
yeah, yeah.
I meant the like bimbo that was trying to hook up with the terrorist guy at the coffee place. It turns
Oh,
out that she
yeah.
was doing that as like a secret operation for the hippie people. So yeah, there's like multiple layers to the script. It's not just a stupid fucking story with nothing going on.
It is
It
in
seems
service
that
of
way.
it is in service of Uwe Boll's directing, which
It's decent.
yeah, it's pretty fun.
But I was gonna say the character of Faith, who is the lady at the cafe,
Yeah,
I really
Oh,
enjoyed
boy.
her at first until the crushing realization that she is the mandatory designated waifu for the main character.
I believe
little
I
bit.
believe I have it written down here. Let me find it. It turns me on how you indiscriminately slaughter man, woman, and child.
I mean,
Yeah.
like Zach Ward in this movie he's not an ugly dude. I can see a woman being turned on by this guy
Well,
if he
she
shoots someone
seems
in the
to be, like,
face.
He seems to be a bit of a wacko. It's like,
Yeah.
two crazy people found each other kind
They
of thing.
match their freak. I get it.
Yeah.
I kind of wish that the actors had more chemistry because each
Yeah.
of them have really good line deliveries at one another, but they don't feel like they're meshing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not
I can see
100%.
that. But I like her a lot before the realization that she's the government issued waifu, the
But she-
GF issued by Biden.
She's a relatively better version of the mandatory GF. I'd
Well,
say.
yeah, I really enjoy. I have a note that says the coffee lady is goals. The scene where she just decides to kick out. I felt so
Yeah.
mixed because I loved that scene for her doing what
Yeah.
she did to the guy who couldn't figure out what the fuck he wanted at the coffee place.
Oh, as
But
someone
then I also,
yeah.
I'm also the indecisive guy.
I'm
So I'm like,
I'm 100% the guy.
I
See-
felt for him. It's like there's 400 coffees
Maybe-
on that thing, bitch. What do you mean it's not that complicated? Why don't you
Maybe-
just make it one coffee at your restaurant?
I mean,
Maybe except for the fact that he's like, oh, I didn't ask for vanilla, and then he
Yeah.
like immediately asked for
Yeah.
vanilla again.
yeah, he's a putz.
Maybe not that part.
As someone who's worked on the other side of that counter too often in life, I totally understood where she was at. And that's why I've gotten faster in my ordering now, where I'm like, okay, I've got all the beats, I know what I'm going for. And
Yeah, I order ahead normally, like through like mobile order or whatever.
oh, that too. Yeah, if I can use like
That's smart.
a DoorDash, like DoorDash pickup is the best thing.
We're talking about our coffee ordering tendencies.
Yeah, Hey, love the
That's the
second
magic.
screenings,
That's the
folks.
magic of the Postal movie, honestly.
Well,
Right?
I was gonna say there's a guy at the coffee shop
Yes.
who says, "I hope she comes back."
Oh,
In a way, in like a really like genuine line delivery that caught me off guard and I thought was really funny.
yeah, the two horny grandpas.
Yeah.
Statler and
Oh, the
Waldorf.
jizz grandpas, yeah. They just keep talking about coming on women. And then there's a whole scene about a lady who thought semen was medicine, so she started mixing it into her kids' bottles, and then they all got AIDS and
AIDS.
died. And then the other grandpa says, "Were they gay, or was he gay, or?"
Was she
And then
gay?
that's the scene.
Yeah, it's like
Some of the jokes don't land, folks.
some of the jokes have
A,
not.
a lot of them, yeah.
Some of the jokes were not great to begin with, and it's like they haven't
Yeah.
aged entirely well.
And then they go on forever.
Yeah, some of them it's like, all right.
You got no man in a dress type of stuff in this
Yeah,
movie,
none of
though.
that. It like they didn't go that low. They kind of just
Yeah,
were like
there's
dick fart
is
and
it-
cum jokes.
There's the gay joke, but it's like a
There's-
really good gay joke.
A
Yeah.
pretty good one.
yeah. There's also
and
the fucking postal guy saying he, she, it for God, and I wrote down for this part.
There you go.
Ooh, pronouns.
I
Pronouns.
well, and it's like the gay joke I think only lands because it's Dave Foley. Because I don't know how much Kids in the Hall you guys have seen, but
I've
like
seen a bit.
I love Kids in the Hall. It's one of those things where like Canadian icons doing comedy, and I find it consistently funny. And throughout all of Kids in the Hall, there is so many gay jokes. But because Scott Thompson was gay and all of them were like really good friends, they just got really good at writing gay jokes and delivering gay jokes. When Dave Foley delivered those lines, I was just like, yeah, that makes sense that this is like the best joke in the movie so far, actually.
Oh
It
yeah.
just fits.
Coming out of his mouth, it's funny as shit. I'll talk about the J.K. Simmons cameo now because he's not in this movie for too
Yeah.
long.
I really wish I could vote
sad.
for the "fuck you" party.
Fuck you.
Yeah,
buddy.
FUP 2023.
Yeah, J.K. Simmons comes
2024.
in spouting truth. He's the only candidate we really should vote for.
The thing about like they were those people that died in 9/11, they weren't good people. They were bankers. They would have conned you all for money. They fucking hated you. Fuck them.
Yeah,
Which is like it's a little far, but it's. I mean, I understand the sentiment at least.
yeah, it's like
The plane didn't crash into no orphanage. It crashed into the World Trade Center.
yeah.
I didn't have any specific quotes from him written down, but I wrote like, "Oh, J.K. Simmons," and then I was like, "Oh, please, please give me more J.K. Simmons," because I was starting to get kind of bored by how slowly paced the scenes were.
We meet him a little bit as we see like where Osama bin Laden's hiding in a shitty convenience store, which that's a clever place to hide out, I guess. I mean,
Well, that's like
Yeah.
a
Better from where it
reference
was
to the
caught.
second game. The second game has a whole segment where there's a convenience store called the Lucky Ganesh, which is the same one here.
yep.
And there's secretly an Al Qaeda terror cell that turns into like a whole chapter of the game. Actually, you have to like root them out of some caves and stuff. It's one of the better parts of the game, gameplay wise. It's not very
Well,
funny
I
or
was-
anything, but it's pretty enjoyable.
I was really surprised to see the guy who runs the convenience store was Eric Avari, who is like a very notable like character actor who just pops up
Yeah.
everywhere.
I don't know his
He
name,
was
but
here
I
and
was
like,
definitely
"Oh, shit."
that guy. Yeah.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
that guys in this movie, really. Like there's Seymour
Surprising
Castles in this
number.
movie. Yeah,
We kind of went past it, but there's a great scene in a DMV.
That's the welfare office or
Yeah.
DMV, I guess.
It's a
Yeah.
welfare office.
I wasn't sure.
It's a welfare
Yeah.
office, but
Yeah.
it's not like a DMV actually.
I have a note that says welfare offices would make me crack too.
Honestly,
In
yeah.
my time, and in Canadian ones no less. Imagine being in paradise. That must just be.
Oh, I can
not
tell
great.
you, in Indiana, welfare office is about as bleak as you could imagine.
Well, he goes to the welfare office, and it erupts into a violent shit show where people
Yeah,
start
someone-
shooting.
Yeah,
Someone does a
and-
shoot.
This guy gets
And-
denied, and he pulls a gun. There's a bulletproof window they have,
Yeah.
which clearly that's happened a few too many times, so they were already
Yeah.
prepared.
And it's an entertaining scene where he's shooting right at her, but she's just like looking away, and
Yeah, just
everybody
drinking
else is
coffee.
dying. Postal dude tries to cash his check, but
Yeah, he's trying to like
she's
grab
like,
other numbers and like.
Yeah,
grab his
Yeah.
check
he got like
yeah.
98, and he's trying to like grab a lower number.
Yeah,
And I
he's
really like that
I-
gag. It's really funny.
That was probably
Yeah.
one of my favorite scenes in the movie. They walk in and there's all this like background noise. Like there's a dude who keeps talking to a guy about his pen or something.
Yeah, he's like,
Yeah.
here, I'll give you this
And the
much
other-
money, and if you give me this, I'll give you this much in food stamps. So really, you're winning. Here, take my pen. Take my pen.
And then
Yeah.
the other guy he's talking to like doesn't speak much English. It's like this old Asian guy, and so like there's just something happening there, and then chaos ensues. And as chaos is ensuing, the old Asian guy gets like shot, but he's still holding his ticket. He tries to pry the ticket out of the guy's hand, and he has to like bite his hand to get him to let go as he's like half dead, shot lying on the ground. And it's so absurd, but like. When the absurdity is all contained like that, I think the movie works best. I think that's why the stuff that happens later works well too.
Yeah, where it's like it knows like this whole segment. I think works as a fun little structure because it also makes sense of the kind of game that it is. It's like,
Yeah.
I could see this being a game kind of segment where it's like you have to try to like get your way up a little higher but not die.
Escape the welfare office with your check.
Get your check fucking cashed. But yeah, no, he eventually finds a ticket that gets called immediately, but right as he does, the whole place gets evacuated and they close. So he can't get money. He's fucking broke.
And I will say later on in the movie, he takes out his anger on the moo cow at the welfare office that wouldn't allow him his check. With
she takes a funny tumble.
a very well done funny tumble where he slams into her and she goes and she like bounces off of 2 or 3 cars. It's really good.
If it hits one car and like lands right into a police car, they're like,
By the way,
oh shit.
oh shit. Oh god, did we hit something? Oh, did we get a flat? I think it was. Oh
Yeah.
no, it's just a dead lady.
Just a
Okay,
dead lady.
that's good.
Dave and dude make a plan of it. Essentially, they're both kind of a shit. Obviously, the IRS thing's going on for Dave, and Postal Dude's life is just in a fucking gutter.
And they're gonna steal these crotchy dolls.
Yeah, they're gonna steal all the crotchy dolls that are going to Little Germany. So
And it's bizarre how they formulate this plan, but
it's a little bizarre. Yeah,
part of the plan involves him getting this truck, and there's just a conveniently placed like disabled guy in a chair
it's
who's like a
guy
vegetable.
they're panhandling.
Yeah, and so he like rearranges them, and he jumps over the fence.
Yeah, uses him as a stepping stone
as
to
a
get
stepping
over.
stone, and so
Yeah.
that's unfortunate for him. But then this black cop guy is apparently like the dude hit his dog. The cop guy, the cop's dog got hit by this dude, this hairy guy.
And then he runs
Harry-
him over.
Yeah, so now this dude's like his disabled slave for the rest of his life who's like shitting in
Yeah.
diapers. And I don't know if it's supposed to be funny. It's just
I think
it's
it
just
shows this cop's a
unpleasant.
piece of shit.
I
I
yeah,
think it's
there's
supposed to be
I
funny.
think they
It's
did
supposed to
that
be
in the
funny,
beginning
too.
when he fucking ventilates that Asian lady. That was a good scene. That was a
Yeah,
funny
that's perfectly fine.
theme.
I think it should just left with that.
just leave it at that, but
You
they
guys-
have this really
you heard-
unfunny segment.
You heard it here first. Killing an Asian woman, turning her into salsa, that's fine.
Yes,
But keeping a disabled guy around for some money, that's bad.
He
That's
wasn't
too far.
disabled before. The guy crippled
Yeah, the guy
him and
crippled
turned
him. Yeah,
him
that-
into his
yeah.
lifelong disabled slave.
He pulled
Admittedly-
a viper.
using
it's like
disabled
not-
people for money is no good.
Th-
Hi,
Yeah,
Claw.
it's
That
not.
is- That is an element. Hello, please
Sorry.
join our Patreon, or I will lose the other arm.
Yes.
Chainsaw. Yes.
They got it primed.
Listen,
Uh,
he needs money for the gun attachment.
That
Postal's
is a
coming soon.
segment.
You know what I'm saying?
Soon.
It has to happen. Yeah, that is a segment that I will say. We're talking about the tone of this movie being more like the second game. If it was more like the first game, it would have been the entire film was really uncomfortable, unpleasant things like that with no real point or rhyme or reason.
And then the second half, Mr. Postal Johnson, if you will, just mows down a special ed school.
That
Oh,
probably
hell
would have
yeah.
happened.
Well,
That's
that would
more
have
of a
raised the
hatred.
dead kids count.
I would say that's
True.
more of a hatred film, actually. When they were mentioning that plan of the crotchy dolls, it's where we learned that Dave had written a Bible again that had predicted them saving them from the clutches of consumerism.
Yeah, the whole Bible that he wrote is essentially just happens to be the plot of the film, unfortunately for Dave and everyone.
Yeah, he really should have read his own Bible, man.
Yeah.
There was a bit
It's funny
during
if
that
you
setup scene. There's a bit during that setup scene where I was just kind of like watching the movie and seeing all these women schmooze over Dave guy.
Yep.
And then like one of them starts spouting a Bible verse, and I'm like, whoa, hold on, what the fuck? And I forgot that these women were religious.
Yep.
Yeah. He wrote that Bible. He didn't really think about what he was doing, but it happened to all come true. I guess he really was like the Messiah or something.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't follow through on that at all. I'm just like thinking on it now. I'm like, yeah, I guess he was pretty prescient, wasn't he? He figured it all out.
Guys, should we write a Bible?
Good for him.
Listen, microdosing on shrooms, it'll fuck you up, man.
Exactly.
It might happen someday.
You'll see some shit.
Should we write a Bible? Is that what we should do? I feel like it's. Am I getting the right message from this? We should write.
Okay,
a Bible.
okay. We'll do alternating books. Gabe, you start with Bane, you start with Genesis. Gabe, you start with Exodus because you're Jewish.
Why don't I get Genesis then? That was my
Because I
bar
really
mitzvah
like the
portion.
band. That's why.
Yes,
But
And not-
Genesis
not-
was my bar mitzvah portion, and I also like.
yeah,
the
but
band.
you get to write cool about cool Egypt stuff.
Honestly, though, you get the
Fine.
cooler one. Egypt fucks.
All right, fine. I'll take Exodus, and you can get Genesis. Who's getting
Okay, it works.
Leviticus?
I'll take Leviticus.
Actually, we're actually gonna draw straws for Leviticus because I
I'll
feel
do
like
a-
it's the
I'll
only
do
way
a
it's fair.
Job.
No one wants it.
Okay, hey, that works for me. I'll take Leviticus. You take Job.
Wait,
Yeah.
oh, you're gonna just do Job?
Just a joke.
I don't know anything about
now-
the Bible. I
Yeah,
It's
like
actually
that you guys
pronounced
are
job now.
you
Yeah,
guys
dude,
are like
I was-
green texting just Job. It's like I
Dude,
took easy mode.
I'm gonna be 100% real. I was raised Catholic. I've never read the Bible.
Well, speaking of the
that's
Bible,
joke about being Catholic.
speaking of the
Hey,
Bible,
Gabe can't write any New Testament ones though.
No.
George Bush shows up in this movie, and I really
Yes, he
enjoy
does.
the scenes in which George Bush features.
Yeah,
Uh,
I do too. I appreciate that his ringtone on his phone is "Twinkle Twinkle Little Star."
Yeah, I appreciate that he has a special iPad that gives him buttons to gimme Jeb, gimme Donnie, gimme Gaddafi. You know,
yeah.
it was good.
It's crazy. We watched this movie right before a big political upheaval, and Jeb was
Yeah.
in it.
We're recording this to date this episode. We're recording this about a few hours after Joe Biden announced he was not going to continue his presidential race. So
Yay!
Yeah. So listen, Jeb's a coming.
I mean, honestly,
Yay! Please clap.
at this point, Jeb could run as a dim and possibly win. So that's something. So yeah, speaking of desperation, Vern Troyer, international celebrity.
Yeah, he shows up.
Yeah.
He's great. He has a scene where they shove him in a suitcase and he starts hotboxing.
Honestly, Vern Troyer, which again, I'm almost certain rest in peace.
He's dead, yeah.
He's dead.
Yeah,
Yes,
I think pretty
It was like
recently.
20, no, it was like
2018.
2018. Okay.
Oh, okay, that was a while ago.
So
Wow.
he was in a lot of films. He was also in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Holy fuck!
Huh,
I did not know
Yeah, he's
that.
been in tons of stuff.
that's
Yeah.
cool.
His film
I've
after
only ever
this.
seen him in Austin Powers and like commercials, and then this, and this is probably my favorite thing I've ever seen him in. So
Yeah, he
He
limited
was in Harry
spectrum.
Potter and stuff too.
Was he?
I think he was
Oh,
one of,
yeah, he
one
was
of the
Script
definitely not anti-Semitic goblins, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
I
but his
see.
voice was Warwick Davis. I'm reading here on Wikipedia. Yeah, he was also in. If you guys had UPN or have seen UPN reruns, he was also in Shasta McNasty.
That's such a great title.
It is.
Yeah, I like that.
It's all on YouTube,
What?
folks. If you want a great experience, watch Shasta McNasty on YouTube.
Shasta McNasty is going to be my new screen name somewhere. Look out.
Honestly, we
If
should
they ever
watch
get
it. It's-
Scub Enjoyer, I'm going to go for Shasta McNasty. Well, at this point in the film, I guess we're approaching the Little Germany segment, which
Yeah,
goes
there's
on way too long.
they suit up after Vern appears. You know.
Yep, they all get
Yeah,
their
there's
little swastikas and tape
Yeah,
mustaches.
out of nowhere it turns into Nazis. I have it written here, Nazis? Question mark?
Yeah, I just wanted a big
Yeah, it's kind of not made clear that that's what was happening necessarily. And
Well,
then I'm like,
it's gonna
oh,
go to
Germans,
Germany,
right.
I mean.
I pieced it
Yeah.
together when I saw they were going to Little Germany. I was like, okay.
Yeah, which
Well, but also this movie is a German-produced film.
yes,
Yeah, there's
directed
multiple layers to it.
by a German.
Yeah, a German who in this film tells a lady in the crowd, yeah, your grandfather died in Auschwitz and so did mine. He fell from a watchtower. Ha 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 ha.
Yeah,
Yeah.
literally the oldest joke of a book, but Uwe Boll told it.
Uwe Boll appears in this movie as himself, and my note for that was in the largest text I could write. What?
Yep. So,
I mean,
Uwe
yeah.
Boll is the owner and showrunner of Little Germany, which is formerly Little Poland. There's great little.
Oh, I didn't catch that. That's a good guess.
Yeah, I thought it said
I-
Holland.
I think it may have said Holland. It looked like it said Poland, but
If it wasn't, it should have been Poland.
should've been
Yeah,
Poland.
yeah, it really should have been Poland.
But there's also like Hasselhoff Sausage House, Land of Lederhosen, Dr. Mingele's First Aid Station, the concentration
me.
camp playground.
Yeah, they really went for it there.
Yeah, I
One of
mean,
my notes here was the fucking Hitler costumed mascot.
the fact they paid money to get that fucking mascot costume.
I wonder where it is right now.
It is almost certainly in Whipple's basement.
Excellent. We have to plan a heist, boys.
He's in Vancouver.
I
It could
am
easily be done.
I'm scared of stealing from Uwe Boll. That's not happening.
Yeah, I feel like it'd be like a collector film.
Yeah, we
if
gotta
you've
wait
seen
for
that
the gun
one.
attack.
Not only does he have the resources to stop me, he could have stopped me himself.
I feel like
No,
he's
no,
into
thank you.
torture.
Oh yeah, you know what he jokes about? I don't want to see. Apparently, he's a very good chef, by the way.
I've
Uwe Boll.
heard that. Also, I've heard he's returned to filmmaking. There's a new film.
There's a note I have here, and this is the moment. It starts to. It's like this is around what the 50-minute mark. It's like under half, and it's like, oh, this should be over. This should be like half over by this point.
Yeah, by the time they were going to the Germantown, I thought, okay, this movie's wrapping up.
This is
Yeah.
gonna
And
be
then
like
I
the
had to
third act or
pause.
something.
I had to pause, and I saw we were only like halfway through, and I
Not even.
despaired.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I have a note here that mentions so earlier on there's the whole segment with J.K. Simmons and he's like, those fuckers that died at 9/11, those fuckers. And it's funny because it's him delivering it and it's kind of shocking the first time you hear it, but there's just like a later part where it's like I forget what it even was. It was on TV or something. Some random person is just like, we all know they deserved it, and it's like
Yeah, that's
the same joke again. This is
that's
just not
when-
funny the second time.
That's near the end where like they're sneaking in to go into the bunker and they shoot the guy at the cat suppressor.
Yeah, which by the
I'm
way, I
glad they
know the
included
cat
that.
the cat survived the silencer.
Yes, which
The cat lived another day. There was bits that shot out of the cat, so I guess
Listen,
it was
cats-
just poopy.
Cats can
Cats
just
cats-
turn their. They can turn their entire GI tract into a straight line.
Apparently,
Guys.
apparently, 3 of us marked down "poopy funny" in our notes. By the way,
we did. I was,
I
the
was
who
the
didn't,
only
so-
one who didn't. Yeah.
Well,
I did it. I did it at the very beginning.
I did at the beginning. Yeah, the poopy
There's-
funny is mostly the.
there's a segment in the middle of this like little Germany part where they send the bimbos from the hippie compound to go like
Seduce the guards.
distract some guards.
Yeah.
And
We're
one
gonna
of
give
them
them
is
God jobs.
yeah, God jobs. Yeah, one of they all come back, and one of them has like shit in her mouth, and she goes, "He did a poopy in my mouth."
Yeah.
And I didn't pick up on it until much later. Apparently, she's supposed to be
She
pretending
was
to be retarded.
she
Yeah.
was pretending to be a retarded woman.
Mm.
before-
I
Well, she
did
was
not
doing-
get that at
If-
all. I
if
mean,
you were watching her in the background, she was like always kind of ditzy. She was
okay, I guess I
yeah.
wasn't.
I think
I don't know,
at that point I wrote, "This sucks, Lamau."
Yeah.
I actually did too. I think what did I write right here? It was I'm getting very bored. I kind of want this movie to just wrap up.
And that was before the halfway point, probably.
We're
was like
before the halfway point in my
Mine,
notes.
mine was
No,
later when
I
it
think.
was.
Oh, I have the same thing. Wow, I forgot. It's technically the same thing.
For
I
me
have it
at this
written as
time.
bird flu plot question mark. God, that sucks. So same vibe,
Yeah,
you
we're
know.
close to that. Yeah.
I have halfway through. How? Also, thank God Uwu Balls is fucking dead.
Yeah, so well, okay, so Vern Troyer finally gets to Little Germany right as the heist is beginning. He comes onto the show where Uwe Boll is being interviewed.
And talking
Again,
about how the children make him hard, and he
yeah.
funds his movies with Nazi gold.
Yeah,
And
they have
in
to use
universe, he
somewhere.
apparently made a Postal movie
Yeah,
already.
again,
So honestly, this
Yeah.
this movie could be taking place right now because
really
that
could.
movie takes place in a postal 2007 world.
That's true.
It does.
Eventually, we're gonna reelect Bush.
It's
and then this is
borderline
all gonna happen.
experimental. Oh yeah.
It all
Osama
lives.
bin Laden's
It's
gonna
canonical.
rise from his watery grave. It's gonna be great.
But yeah, so like the homeless guy that the black cop owns. Did we say owns?
Yes.
I guess Owens is in
The
a
black
partnership
cop
with.
has enslaved this white man. That's happening in this movie, Dane. That's accurate.
Yes, a white man with brain injury.
Yeah, he's sent out to Panhandle to get some cash. The dudes group, like, they start getting the toys back to their, back to the postal van. Vern Troyer gets
But
paid in
also
gold teeth.
the terrorists
Real
want
quick.
these fucking crotchy dolls.
Oh yeah.
So the what's his name? The like second in command for the religion.
Yeah,
Richie, yeah.
Richie is like doing a lookout, and he starts with like a German accent because he's trying to blend in, and then it turns like weirdly Asian.
At one point they call it queer. So
This is a very 2000s movie.
I think we
This
should just
is.
be happy looking at. If you don't want to watch the movie, look up a picture of Richie from this movie and tell me that we aren't lucky that it wasn't played by Dan Schneider.
Honestly, he could have been Dan Schneider.
Dan Schneider phenotype. And this character is absolutely insufferable. He doesn't really start out so bad, but he mugs a lot and he's not funny. And they put him next to Dave Foley, who's the best part of the movie.
Yeah.
And so he's just really obnoxious and he chews the scenery in an unfunny, bad way, like get this over with kind of way.
Yeah, but the Bin Laden group attacks finally. The crotchy actor takes his mask off, and it's Vince Desi, the guy who made the Postal games.
Yeah, that's the
very-
second biggest what that I have in this.
It was my favorit scene, I think, actually.
It felt like a bizarre, like Tim Robinson sketch or something. It was just,
Yeah,
it was very out of left field. You expected to just like
It also
freeze
does
frame with like
the freeze frame with the actual
title card.
We'll be
name
right
and
back.
his title.
It's clever. It shows like at least like Uwe Boll's willing to make fun of himself.
Well, not only that, this is one of the. I mean, like, the joke is that Vince Desi is upset that the Postal movie is terrible, but you've got the actual game creator in a very funny scene in your movie. This might be one of the better game adaptations just for that alone.
See,
I just really think it's funny how they had to like do a fucking title card for him essentially.
Exactly. Well, I mean, because like the average person's not gonna know who the fuck Vince Desi is, nor and I'm being nice to Vince Desi. 'Cause
Nor
I like
should
him.
they.
Nor should
That's
they.
fair.
It's like even Gary Gygax in a fucking Dungeons and Dragons movie, it'd still be like, pause the frame,
Yeah,
save
a
us
little
if you're
bit.
doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was a good scene generally.
Oh, yeah. So all the people
This
that
kind of culminates in all of the chaos that happens in Little Germany there with
Yep.
multiple groups converging and many dead.
Yep. Vince Desi
Mostly
gets,
children.
Vince Desi gets shot by Uwe Boll. Harry the Panhandler gets shot in the chest and starts spinning around in his wheelchair. Which admittedly, the first time I saw that, it kind of made me laugh. I'm probably a piece of shit for that one, but I'm okay.
Oh, that one was fine. The newscaster guy gets shot. He
like,
also sucks. He's not even entertaining, really. He's just
Yeah.
kind of get on with it, you know.
He leads to a funny scene in a minute here. Yeah, 5 children get shot on frame. Like on camera, 5 kids just get shot in the chest and like, ugh.
I mean, I was gonna say like that hits harder now in a way, but that was also very shortly after Columbine too.
Yeah, it's
so
only a few
I mean,
years.
Well,
yeah.
10 years or so.
well, yeah, like 6 or 7, I think.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean, that was still happening around that time. Like, and
Say.
Uwe Boll himself got shot.
Thank God Uwu Balls is dead.
Yeah, he
Thank
said,
God.
"I hate video games."
Admittedly, quite funny.
Yeah, it's like, you know what? The tip of the hat to you, sir. Vern Troyer also punches a 10-year-old in the balls, and then gets
does.
as
kidnapped.
we all want to do sometimes.
Yes. Well, I mean, like, to him, a 10-year-old's like a fucking NBA player, but
Yeah,
I'm
he
like,
didn't.
oh,
He didn't
man.
have to reach it down. He just went.
he's like,
He just went for it. Like you're punching the guy in the face.
Then he gets thrown into a suitcase, his own suitcase, full of dildos and weed.
Hey,
Yeah, and then
what else?
and-
What else would you put in there? Come on.
the guy who puts him in there is the fat guy villain Richie,
Yes.
who I have marked as fat guy villain sucks, but that's
Yeah,
I forgot his
yeah.
name.
He says he's doing it for a reason.
I literally
Yeah.
just I wrote him down as right hand man, but yeah, he's doing this for a reason. That reason we'll
Yeah.
find out soon. We also get to see everybody, you know, in a chase. That's when he runs over a welfare lady, and then
I
Yeah,
have
it's a
nothing
pretty
for these scenes.
pretty enjoyable
I
scene.
kind of, also the massacre
There
of
was
the child massacre aftermath.
Oh yeah, how many dead kids?
There was, I believe, 36 dead kids.
36 whole slaughtered children.
Yes.
Yeah, that was one of those scenes where the lady's like prepping to pretend to be sad for the news,
yeah.
where it was so like they didn't add anything. It's like the news doesn't care. Okay. And
Yeah.
then it went on for 2 minutes and it's like, come on.
Yeah, it's like I could have trimmed that out. I think that may have been a for the additional
We needed-
cutscene.
We needed Paul Verhoeven's Postal.
Honestly, yes. But so yeah, we start to learn there's an underground compound inside their compound, but they have to hide the truck. So the postal dude hides the truck and finds out the cops are framing him with a very old and hilarious looking photo of him with long hair. Like they photoshopped.
It's like horribly photoshopped.
Yeah, they
on.
photoshopped him with some wonderful locks.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he gets in a chase with a community watch and has to knock out a cop, and then steals the uniform to kind of make them go.
Notably,
He pulls a hitman.
he never gets the like trench coat. He always has other outfits on. It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
They didn't give a trench coat for him.
I do like the costuming of the Peace T-shirt.
Yeah, I
thought
like the
it's
Peace
actually
shirt.
Yeah, that's
kind of-
pretty cool.
I think
More than the happy
I think
face,
it's
honestly.
actually really a really good idea for like a Postal protagonist to have a shirt that says peace on it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't. At no point did he really feel like the Postal dude to me. He
Yeah.
felt like kind of like a guy similar.
A postal dude, one of many.
I was just gonna say, like, at this point we're heading towards like the very very end of the film, kind of.
yeah,
Like,
we're
the last
close to the end.
Yeah.
the last like 20 or 30 minutes of this movie just kind of all happen.
It all kind of blends together after they. So what happens?
Yeah.
They get to the bunker.
Yeah.
The fat guy villain. It's a whole thing about haha. If you read between the lines, you know anyone can interpret any religious thing or anything in order to suit their own purposes and everything.
So it turns out that all of the crotchy dolls have been hiding a sample
Because
of the
it's
bird flu.
2007, the bird flu is now in the plot. So,
Yes.
Yeah.
So the Taliban wanted to spread it in the United States, but Richie's plan is basically sucker the Taliban into stealing it and then use a virus to spread it across the world.
Yeah, he's taken over the whole thing, and Uncle Dave, whose operation it is, he's basically like, "Well, fuck that, this is my thing. What do you mean? I'm God, dude." And
Yeah.
you
What do you mean it's
know,
the end of the
Richie
world?
Richie decides to basically overthrow him. He's like, "Well, we don't really need you anymore." When
Yeah.
you read between the lines,
And,
and
of course, Vern Troyer's-
unfortunately, well, Vern Troyer was written to have been raped to death by 1,000 monkeys, and
Yes.
so for
You-
some reason they have 1,000 monkeys, and
you
yeah,
shall
it
know when
proceeds
the
as
final
such.
day of reckoning begins, because on that day, a tiny entertainer will be raped by 1,000 monkeys. Yes.
Yeah.
Kind of brain space you got to be in to write this shit.
I'm impressed.
I've
You gotta
been
write-
profoundly high before, and I don't come up with this shit.
So rest in peace, Dave Foley's character.
Yeah.
Buddy decides to
Yeah.
kill him, and it's after one of the better jokes in the film where he kisses him, and Dave goes, "Oh, I'm fucking gay." Oh,
Yeah. He
And
feels like he
then-
might feel something for him. He's like, oh, I'm a fucking
As-
chubby chaser, too.
and as he's dying, he grabs the lady's tit, and he goes, "I guess I'm bi." Oh. It's a good moment. And then the movie, it's interesting because the movie, in a way, it both picks up and nosedives at the same time.
It
Because
speeds
if you
up.
want an action Postal movie where he's killing people, that's what you get now.
Yeah.
But also no Dave, and the movie just kind of loses a lot of its entertainment factor. It's
Yeah, I
better
don't
as
have
a
many
comedy.
notes after this.
Yeah, it kind of just there's the part with the fucking Osama bin Laden hotel seminar,
Yep.
which is just in there. That's
Yeah,
in
it
there.
exists.
Yeah, there's the tattoo. He has the anarchy tattoo.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Mr. Postal does some weird ass fucking MacGyver shit to get back into the bunker after getting kicked out.
Yeah.
He schmoof talked his way out.
So
Yeah.
what happens is he, like, as Richie's threatening him, he starts to like sneak shit into his pockets, which are plastic explosives, and he gets locked in a cell. He sticks the plastic explosives onto the door, and again MacGyver's it, and stops the lovely what do we call these brainwashed ladies? Just brainwashed ladies.
Bimbos. They're the bimbos.
The ladies.
The god bimbos.
Yeah, god bimbos, god ladies.
The god bimbos.
The god bimbos. He stops all but one of them.
The
from eating-
gimbos, if you prefer.
Gimbos. The gimbos. He stops the gimbos except for one who already ate him because she was on a cleanse, eating these poison brownies, and goes on a hunt against the Taliban. And
And then
Yeah.
he rips one of his shirt arms off to reveal that he secretly had an anarchy tattoo.
And it's just-
Wow.
It's a scene that's trying to be, I don't know if it's trying to be badass. It's not really.
well, it's this guy trying to be badass.
I
which-
guess that's working, but I don't know if the movie thinks this is cool or if we're supposed to or if we're.
I think it's cool
'Cause
that
I
he
was
grabs
like,
the guns. I don't think it's
this
cool when he
still-
rips off of the shirt.
I mean, there's like a character arc there of him learning to take, stand up for himself. Uncle Dave is like, you gotta live for yourself, whatever,
Yeah,
or
I
else
mean,
you're just slow
wife-
death
Wife cheating on him. His life is a fucking
in
spiral.
shambles.
Yeah, it's like effectively this is the how Stella got her groove back of the Postal dude.
Basically, yeah.
At this point in the film, like where we're at the end, and he's kind of going full Postal dude as much as they can get away with in a movie like this.
Yeah.
All I wrote here, because he gives like a whole speech. After that, when all just
God.
like stuff just starts happening, and all I wrote was, "This is nonsense."
Yeah,
Because I
I
was
wrote
like,
the South
yeah.
Park moral of the story bit is annoying because it all just goes on for like it's like a big
Yeah, it's
moment where everything stops.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny, but then it's in service of nothing because they all just shoot him. He like
Yeah.
stops them with the everybody, peace, look at your neighbor, and then they all just shoot him. And it's
Yeah,
like,
when that happened, I wrote, yeah, saw that coming.
I was thinking maybe something would happen, but I guess I gave it too much credit. It was
Also,
unfortunate.
this is the point where happens.
Oh boy. Oh yeah. He, she,
Yeah.
it.
True, yes.
He, she, them,
All
Yeah.
right.
they, them.
Yeah.
Um,
I kind of like his speech for a little bit, but yeah, it's a little too long. Speed it up, Junior.
There's a part where he guns down a crowd of people that are coming for him with like pitchforks and guns.
Yep.
And he shouts "sorry" while he's shooting them, which is very unpostal dude to me.
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't even
like-
talk about the fact that they run over a baby.
Oh yeah.
Oh
we got run over a
yeah, they
baby.
do hit a baby.
What's grim to me about that scene is that the lady runs away and doesn't even look at the
Yeah.
baby.
That's
She
fun.
doesn't give
Yeah.
a shit. It's
I
the whole
mean-
movie kind of reminded me. This is a weird pull, but it's recent, I guess. It's the Dot and Bubble episode where it's like she was gonna stab Ricky September in the back,
True.
even though she loved him and admired him. Like it's her baby. No, in this universe, like everyone's fucking sucks. They deserve nuclear hellfire.
This
Yeah.
is the point where I wrote, it turns me on how you indiscriminately slaughter man, woman, and child, because the woman just doesn't react to the fact that they just
Well, they
ran
both-
over
They
I
a
don't
both
think
don't
they
small
react.
know.
child.
Yeah, they both don't know. He's like, did
They
I
don't-
hit something?
Yeah, they didn't notice. That's the funny joke. But
Yeah, it's because
it reminded me of Bane. You and I both enjoy the TV show Under the Dome.
Yes,
but
in
I
different
have-
ways we enjoy it. Well, it's
Well,
the same way.
I
but-
liked it to an extent. Then I read the book, and the book is better, but also it ends in a similar way with this, like, I mean, spoilers, but it ends with this, like, kind of wanton destruction where, like, there's a big explosion, and it just, like, in detail, it shows, like, a lady and her baby that get caught in the horrible explosion and the detail of how they die.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, why do we need to read this, Stephen King? This is,
dude,
I
Stephen
guess
King,
it's
like,
setting the tone, but
he-
it's
Stephen
like,
King is a
he does that often.
funny guy.
The
Yeah.
Stand has like a whole chapter where it's like this kid fell down a well and broke his fucking neck. Whoa.
I guess so.
Oh,
I
this-
haven't
hell
read
yeah.
much from
I
him.
also have read and watched Under the Dome and feel the same.
I
Yeah.
like that first season though. That first season of that show is actually pretty fun.
I'm just so amazed. I'm fascinated by what they chose to do with the character of Junior, but that's all I'll say. We'll save
Yeah.
it for the Under the Dome second screening.
That's another discussion. Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah.
we may do a whole season of that fucking show. You may have to speed it up like 2 times just to get through some of the
Oh,
filler.
God.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Yeah. No. I mean, we're
Yeah.
toward
More
the end.
glowing
There's-
Bane recommendations.
I have one note that's a positive note. I say, just when I was hoping Bush would return in the film, he does.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just
He
when I
says
was
Newt's
right
great.
there, I was like, right before it, I was like, man, I really hope they bring that Bush because he was great. And right then, it's an even better scene where they're like, you know, it's not a particularly original joke, but it's Bin Laden and Bush love each other, you know.
Yeah.
And it's done pretty well by Soup Nazi and whoever's playing George Bush. It's pretty good. He
Oh,
does
yeah.
a pretty good George Bush. He says nuclear, like Tristan
Pretty
said.
sure it's the real George Bush. They got him. They got
I
him.
hope so.
The guy's name's Britman and all. But real quick, yeah, apparently we have I'll read out the quote here. Apparently, Bush decided to blame the shootouts in the city on India and China, and apparently we sent a whole bunch of nuclear missiles to them, and in retaliation, they launched missiles towards us, and they were scheduled to hit, you know, Paradise and other places.
Yeah.
And
So around this time, he had set up a bomb around like the gas tank of his house, his mobile home, because his wife was fucking dudes in there.
yeah, the fucking the racist cop and the Dutch cop that was his partner.
Oh,
Yeah.
actually, one detail I noticed about that is that when the wife goes to kiss the cop that we've been seeing throughout the film, they like both skirt away from actually kissing each other, like very obviously they avoid touching their
I think they
lips
were
together.
doing like an Eskimo kiss thing. It was weird. They were like rubbing their
It was very
noses
weird.
together.
Yeah, it's-
Yeah.
But so he, well, like after that gets announced, he says like, "I regret nothing," and detonates the charge. And at this point, I wrote down, and then all the people who were mean to me exploded.
Well, they
Yeah.
kind of all deserved it, you know.
yeah, there's
Yeah.
not really a hero here in this film, which
Yeah.
that's okay.
Still very much wish fulfillment in a way.
Well,
Yeah, oh,
the
yeah,
game is
absolutely.
kind of wish fulfillment
Yeah,
too.
to be fair,
sure.
but also if you know,
I get where you're coming from.
I don't think it's done very well.
It's not done
Well,
super
the whole thing led to my name is not important, but what's important is what I'm gonna do. So you
Yeah.
know, it's a strong legacy. I have a note that just says the terrorist stuff is getting really old.
Yeah,
like,
well, but at the
not-
end, I mean,
They run out of jokes, and it's just these boring fucking. They're like these funny, incompetent comedy terrorists. It's
Yeah.
funny.
Well,
but they just
there's
every scene
Abdul,
with them is like,
the retarded terrorist too, where he didn't
Yeah.
have his suicide vest, so the other terrorist guys exploded.
yeah, he like
yeah, they're also
suicide
included
vests
in the exploding.
get
Yeah.
mixed up, and yeah, there's some exploding, and it's just it goes on for a while, and then if you'll permit me, I have like my final review. It just says it really picks up after Dave Foley dies, which is also when it nosedives somehow. Better than I expected. The way too long and too much repetition of jokes goes just over the line at times, but pulls it back with a decent joke. But ultimately, it's just kind of a bit unpleasant and makes me tired. Maybe because I watched this at 4 a.m. Lol.
Yeah. You have
I
a
wrote-
pretty good letterbox review there, honestly.
Yeah, that's it's not that bad. I wrote, I'm just baffled.
That's even better.
And I rated it a -4 out of 10, which, hey, that means it's at least somewhat enjoyable.
I will
on
say
a
this, we
bit
missed,
so bad it's
we
good
missed
kind of
one. We missed
deal.
Bane
one.
gives it a
Hold
7
on,
out of
we
10.
missed one more point real quick before we end here. We did miss Obama and Bush skipping through the field as
Yeah.
the bombs were dropping.
I did
Obama.
love that as a closer.
Not
Obama.
Obama.
I said Osama. I said Osama.
No, you said Obama.
It,
Oh,
hey,
you
hey,
didn't say
hey,
Obama. You
guess
said
what's changing in
Obama.
the edit? Obama and Bush skipping through the field. 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 Obama and Bush skip. Obama and Bush. Obama and Bush skipping through the field.
Oh man.
Yes.
Obama.
Snap like Thanos. There you
Yeah,
go.
well, I was about to say that, Bane. The film ends with Bush and Osama bin Laden skipping away into the sunset as nuclear bombs go off. And at the very end, I wrote, the climax of this film is really bad, but this bit with Bush and Osama at the very, very, very end rules.
Yes.
That's my review.
It's really fun.
I couldn't even talk about the rest. My brain blocked it out.
You can almost hear when like they're skipping through the fucking field. I can't see me loving nobody but you.
But
for
I
all
couldn't
my
license it. It
life.
was too expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They also
mean-
had this like weird bootleg somewhere over the rainbow at the end.
Yeah,
Called like the magic sound.
Yeah, the Magic
Oh,
Sound by Mark
yeah.
Pollock. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff where it's like you can tell they wanted to get a different song at some point, but they couldn't afford it, which I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
The audio editing in this movie was atrocious.
Oh my god! I didn't even get to say the fucking Johnny Test ass transition sounds.
Oh,
Yeah, I will say some goofy shit.
This is a movie. As much as I praise it,
Dubbed.
yeah.
Yeah, that was a
It
lot
all
of
has. It has. Well, it's a foreign film technically,
Yep,
so like,
it's a German one.
but like the whole. I kind of praise it because I'm like, well, yeah, but it's Listen, Uwe Boll's pretty good at speaking English. You got to give him some credit.
Oh yeah.
It's a movie. I give it some credit for like being better than I'd expect it to be, but then I shouldn't ever watch a movie where I'm like, oh wow, they have actual boxes on the shelves. Wow.
Yeah.
Like they made props for it and everything. Amazing. That that
There's
should
a
kinda
special
come-
effect once. Oh no,
That should-
twice.
That should come gratis with the film. I mean, the thing is, it's a Postal movie. You expect explosions and death. So like it's weird that the part where it gets boring and lame is like where it turns into explosions and death. You'd think, I guess it's kind of a failure for that reason.
Yeah, I guess before then it was like fine, but not like Postal,
it was like more of a South Park thing, and then it becomes more Postal, and it's like I guess that makes it worse as a Postal movie if you think about it, because like
The
it
funny thing
doesn't sell that combination once it finally does it.
The funny thing is, one of the posters that I was looking at, I think it's the one that I used in the thumbnail, says fucking like South Park but live action.
Yeah.
So it's really funny that you make that
Ew.
comparison.
Well, yeah, I mean it is kind of like that, and I mean I guess I could see the comparison. It's certainly not as good, but there's
Yeah.
probably some pretty bad South Park episodes that are
Oh yeah,
There's some
plenty.
real bad ones.
comparable to this, maybe. So like
Um,
I guess so.
a couple things I will mention real quick. The cat animatronic that was used for that cat silencer apparently cost $45,000 to create and was only on screen for about like 4 seconds.
Nice.
Yep.
Jesus Christ.
It was worth every
again,
penny.
it's all
Yeah.
like a tax deductible thing for Uwe Boll or something.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I'm glad
I
we
really
got
wish
that
I could
scene.
go to his. I wish I could go to his restaurant where he cooks the food, and it's apparently incredible. That would
It's-
be so good.
I think it's in. It's only in Vancouver. Apparently, he's back to working on films. His latest one, according to Wikipedia, is called First Shift. It is not a gaming related thing. Apparently, it's scheduled for a wide release in September 2024, which is around the time we're releasing these. So hey, folks, if you want, go see First Shift, an Uwe Boll film.
Nice.
Oh, but it's not bad.
Yeah, honestly, I hope it's good. I'll go fucking see it if it's anywhere close to me.
Will be. Let's be honest.
It probably
You
will.
know, if it's
Well,
in a
you know,
Toronto theater,
have-
I bet it would be a weird, cool experience to see it in a Toronto
It
theater.
might have
so,
gotten
like,
better.
Yeah,
like
First
seeing a Neil
Shift.
Breen movie, you know.
exactly. And that was a great experience.
Yeah. Hey,
Well, our first annual Uwe Boll film.
yes.
Yeah.
Folks, this has been our pilot for second screenings.
You can watch the movie. It's available. You know, you can find it if you're smart. You can use Google.
Tubi, it's currently
Yeah,
there.
if you're not smart, watch it on Tubi.
Yeah.
Well, there's a don't we have an Amazon affiliate
Yes,
link or
I was
something?
gonna say,
Yes,
there's
actually,
a
you're
link
right.
to physical copies, the Blu-ray.
You
4K,
should buy a
DVD.
physical copy.
Yes, the 4K cover looks amazing, and I'm gonna have to scan it because we may have that as a thumbnail. Actually,
I would prefer that as the thumbnail. Yeah.
yeah.
I don't love this movie, but that is a physical copy of something that I would buy. Honestly,
Yeah, I mean, like you said,
Uber,
it
maybe
comes,
not, but Postal
comes with
movie.
a copy.
Yeah.
Comes with a copy of Postal too.
I don't know. If
Yeah.
I don't know if the 4K does, but the Blu-ray and DVD ones do.
Well, I mean, hey,
I
if
mean,
you want the
already-
game for sure,
I mean,
get Blu-ray.
I'll say this: buy it on Steam personally, but if you're gonna get it, it's still a copy if you've got a DVD drive on your computer. Which,
Oh, so it's not like a code?
No,
for the,
it's
for the Blu-ray.
well, the Blu-ray came out in 2008, Tristan.
Oh God, Blu-rays are older than I fucking keep thinking.
Metal Gear
2000.
Solid 4 was on Blu-ray.
I
Technically-
keep forgetting.
I was gonna say, do we want to at the end of each of these go around and say what we would give it?
I mean,
well, what scale should we do?
I like out of 10.
Out of 10?
But we
I
could
was
do
thinking-
decimals. I'll give like a 4.8 out of 10.
See, I like the
like 4.5.
I like the scale where 1 to 10 is like quality, and then if it goes into the negatives, it's like enjoyable, but it's fucking horrible.
Okay.
So in that case, I'd give it a -4. If we're talking like strict 1 to 10, 3.
Okay, let's do straight 1 to 10. That's a lot easier.
Yeah.
All right, so three it is.
I'm still at 7. I'm still at 7.
Crazy
I-
person, but we knew that.
Yeah. Look, I think with this film, obviously it's not a high concept film. You're not going to be thinking a lot with this, and that's fine. And it's
not high concept. It's high concept.
Yeah, it is.
Oh yeah.
Preferably like you.
I am glad that I smoked some.
Yeah, you should have taken like 4 edibles. Probably a couple hours before this movie, and then get into this movie. Like you need to be in the couch, maybe a little bit already.
Shame we don't have a sponsor like
I'd
that
give
for
this like a
these.
4.5. I don't think I could go any higher than that.
Yeah.
I mean, I get that. Again,
I like the Dave Foley parts, you know.
some of this may be
It's
the
got
fact
some-
that I saw
I
this
like
when it
it.
came out.
Oh yeah, it's nostalgia,
Yeah,
sure.
it's almost
That's fair.
20 years old now. I think what we got here is at least an entertaining film.
Yeah. For the
Yeah.
most part. It's
Yeah,
too long.
I had some fun with it.
Maybe watch it on like 1.25 speed. You probably wouldn't lose much.
Yeah.
I didn't have that option.
Oh,
Yeah.
And when you have ads break into the middle of it, it kind of sucks. That's
Oh,
even.
Yeah,
Tubi's not bad for a free service, but man, that part sucks.
ads are a pox.
Yep. Fuck advertising. Sponsors, hosts at loud20.com. Thank you.
We will say your ads don't suck.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, your ads won't suck because you'll be giving us ads.
Terms-
That's not here.
Advertising,
apply.
more like adver, yes.
Adver yesing.
Yeah.
Oh, Oh,
Pokemon, go to the polls.
Hey, film fans,
Bear
go.
with us, ladies and gentlemen. This is the beginning of a beautiful thing. In the
Vote-
future,
vote-
we'll have this more ironed out.
Exactly.
Vote on how to end this with your phones.
Yes, vote on your phones.
Make sure to give extensive criticism about how you didn't like that we didn't have a smooth transition to the ending
Yeah,
in the comments below.
get your popcorn, folks. Go see it. Go see a movie. Go to the theaters and see a movie after this, or listen
Watch
to
it
the
in
next
a real
episode
movie.
here. There you go.
Yeah, because
Yay.
we're doing them all at once,
Yep,
aren't we?
all of these are dropping at the same time. So yeah, folks,
Hell
go
yeah.
listen to the second episode. I'm ready
Please
for
just stick with us to the stupids. That's all I ask.
Yes.
I've been dying to talk about the stupids for 26 20 when did I first watch the stupids? Since then, for 20 something years, god damn it.
Folks, you have to at least listen to this. At least get to the Stupids episode. If you listen to all of this episode, you owe it to Claw to at least listen to the Stupids episode.
You owe it to me. If you don't watch the stupids episode or listen to it, my other arm will fall off, and my leg,
Yeah.
and one of
Yes,
my
and
toes
also-
on the other leg.
And also put the money into his hat, when he's sitting there, when he's sitting out there.
Exactly.
No ones.
Just
Only
make
5s
sure-
and 10s and 20s, okay?
Just make sure you put the blanket on me when you're done. It gets drafty in the garage.
Okay, all right. That give
All
me that.
right.
And with that, we bid
Not
you
too much
all
work.
All right.
adieu.
We bid you all
Do
a
what?
penis.
Yeah, penis.
A penis.
Venus, I guess.